Hey friend, welcome back to Seed Inspire Homestead. My name is Kelsey if you're new around here. Today I'm participating in a collaboration with my friend Heather. I'm sure you've heard her name pop up on my channel before. She has a channel called Brickhouse Kitchen. I will be sure to link her channel as well as her video that she's putting out today as well. So she is actually my real life friend and she lives just a few minutes down the road. Our families get together pretty often, and she's actually the one that kind of pushed me and gave me the confidence I needed to start this channel, so thanks Heather. She asked if I would come up with 7 breakfast ideas for summer to share with you all, so that's what I have today. I know sometimes I can get stuck in a rut, especially with breakfast and just making the same thing on repeat, which at times is completely necessary and needed, but it's also really nice to just switch it up and throw something new into the rotation. So that's what I've got. I've got 7 refreshing summer breakfast ideas to share with you all today, and so does Heather. So be sure to check out her video as well.
Getting right into today's recipes. Our first recipe is going to be lemon ricotta pancakes. I just put a pat of butter in my cast iron skillet, and we're going to do a little bit of prep work. I needed some lemon zest as well as some lemon juice. And as always, you can find all of today's recipes, the ingredient list, down in the description below. These pancakes are super light and fluffy, very refreshing, and with anything that is a bit more carb heavy or on the sweeter side, I always make sure to serve with some sort of meat or protein as well. This batter requires 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar. I just used organic raw cane sugar here, that's why it's a bit darker. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to mix all of our dry ingredients together. I'm going to set that bowl aside and we're going to move on to our wet ingredients. You'll need 1 cup of milk, a 1/2 cup of ricotta cheese, a splash of vanilla extract, about a teaspoon, the juice from 1 lemon, and about a tablespoon's worth of fresh lemon zest. I'm going to add in 2 eggs, get this all mixed up. I'm just mixing it until it is just combined. We don't want to overmix this, otherwise you're not going to have very fluffy and light pancakes. So I'm just making a well in the dry ingredients. I'm going to add in my wet, and I'm just going to carefully fold this in. As with any pancake, we are just going to cook these up on each side. It takes about 45 seconds to a minute over medium heat. As soon as you see the bubbles, you flip them. I served these with some powdered sugar, a little dollop of ricotta cheese, some extra lemon zest, and some blueberries. This next recipe is a Caprese Quiche. I love making all different variations of quiche. This one is especially good during the summertime when I have lots of tomatoes coming in from the garden. So we've just sliced up 1 whole tomato. I'm going to mince some shallot here, and I'm going to cube about 8 ounces worth of mozzarella. Ran out to the garden quick to grab some basil. I'm just going to ribbon this to add to the top of our quiche. Now for the actual quiche mixture. My recipe is as follows: 6 eggs, 1/4 cup of milk, and 1/4 cup of heavy cream, salt and pepper. And then you can add in any extras you want. If you'd like to add in some other seasonings, maybe some garlic powder or onion powder, it's totally up to you. I just kind of work with whatever I have on hand. I'm adding in my mozzarella cheese, and I'm also going to add in about 1/4 cup's worth of fresh Parmesan cheese. Tossing in our minced shallot, reserving the tomatoes and basil for the top of the quiche. Into a greased pie plate, I'm adding all of my quiche filling, and then we are going to place our tomato slices over the top. That's why I like to chunk my mozzarella. It kind of gives them something to float on, and it keeps them at the surface level. Sprinkling our basil over the top. This is now ready to go in the oven at 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. Moving right along to our next recipe, recipe number 3. This is going to be summer fruit tarts with a granola crust. Now this is just a fancy way of serving your granola. You can just make any granola and just serve that with the filling and the fruit. But if I have the extra time, I like to put in the effort every once in a while just for something special. So for the tart itself, I am using 1.5 cups of rolled oats. And I am using about 1/2 cup's worth of walnuts that I have finely chopped. You can use any nuts that you like, or you can omit them and just add in more of the rolled oats. I added in about 5 tablespoons worth of coconut oil. It was pretty soft. You want to make sure it's at least soft or melted. 1/4 cup's worth of honey, and just a splash of maple syrup for some extra flavor. A little bit of cinnamon, maybe a teaspoon's worth, and about a teaspoon's worth of vanilla. We're going to mix this all up and get this into my makeshift tart forms. I don't have any of those little tart pans, but I have found that a wide mouth mason jar ring with the lid in there works just as well. So that's what we are using today. I am putting in about 3-4 tablespoons worth of the mixture into each one. And I'm going to press that out, making sure that there's a good layer on the bottom, and pressing it up the sides, making sure that there's at least some sort of indentation. These will go into a 325-degree oven for about 15 minutes. They should just be lightly golden brown. While those are baking, I'm going to move on to our filling. I have 4 ounces of softened cream cheese already in this bowl, and I'm adding about a cup's worth of Greek yogurt. I'm going to add some maple syrup and some vanilla to that to give it a little bit of sweetness and some extra flavor. You can switch this up with all sorts of variations. You could add in lemon or lime juice. You could add in different flavors of yogurt, whatever you want. Once the tart has cooled, you can pop it right up out of that mason jar ring just by pushing up on the lid. These aren't super hard. They're a little flexible, so they may not stay together perfectly well, but you can just kind of piece them back together. They're pretty sticky. So we're just going to add in our filling, and we're going to top with whatever fruit you have on hand. I had just harvested some raspberries that morning, and it has been like one of those silly dreams of mine to make like an ombre raspberry tart, and I have finally grown the colors that I need. I have my Anne raspberries, which are the golden ones. I have my double gold, which are those coral color, and then I have my Joan J red raspberries. Okay, so where are my fellow gardeners at who have zucchini coming out their ears? It just seems to get crazy all of a sudden with how much zucchini that you have. Now, I do have a mock pineapple recipe coming for you soon, so stay tuned for that. But this is another way I like to use them in a galette. So we're making a savory galette today, and the first thing is I have sliced them into about 1/4-inch rounds, and I am sprinkling some salt on there to try and draw out some of the moisture so they don't end up really mushy. And while that's happening, we're going to work on the crust. So in my processor here, I have 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I added in a 1/2 cup or 1 stick of cold butter that I had cubed, and I'm just pulsing that. To that, I'm going to add a mixture of 1/4 cup sour cream, 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, and a 1/4 cup of cold water. Pulsing that until it just comes together. You do not want to overmix this. You're going to have a tough crust. When done right, this is perfectly flaky and absolutely delicious. So I'm just wrapping this up into a disc, and I'm going to put this in the fridge to chill for about 30 minutes. For the filling, I am mixing up a 1/2 cup of ricotta cheese, a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, and a 1/4 cup of mozzarella. I'm also going to add in some garlic powder that I made in my last video. Now that the dough has chilled, I am going to roll this out into about a 12-inch circle, and I have it on parchment sheet right here so I can easily transfer it to my baking sheet. I'm going to add our filling, leaving about 2 inches worth around the edges plain. Once that is all spread out, I'm just going to start layering on my zucchini. You can make lots of fun little designs. I just chose to do rows of each color. Next, I'm just going to start folding in that plain layer of crust on the edge there, and I am pleating it so that it all comes together in a nice circle. I am applying an egg yolk wash, which is just 1 egg yolk with a splash of water mixed up and applied to the crust. Bake this at 400 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes. I love a good breakfast casserole, especially one that you can either make ahead and bake in the morning, or one that you can freeze and pull out when you need it. And this one, you can do that with. It is a summer fruit bake, and I am just cubing up an entire loaf of French bread here. And I just picked up some aluminum pans at the store. I like to keep these on hand for when I'm making something. I'll make multiple if it freezes well. So this is going in to this pan, but I would probably use just a 9x13 if we were eating it right away. So about 3/4 of the bread cubes went on the bottom. I cubed up about 4 ounces worth of cream cheese, and I am just scattering that on top of there. And then we're going to add in some berries. I used raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries. We're going to add in the rest of our bread cubes, and then we're going to make the mixture that's going to get poured on top of this. For the egg mixture, I used 8 eggs, 1.5 cups of milk, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a 1/4 cup of butter melted. This just gets poured over the top, trying to get everything saturated in it. Sometimes you have to push down the bread a little bit to actually get it down into the liquid. This is going to bake at 350 degrees for about an hour, or until the center is custard-like. We love quesadillas over here, and we really like breakfast quesadillas too. So for our breakfast quesadilla, I have scrambled 2 eggs, and I just tried to keep it in somewhat of a round shape that would fit in between 2 tortillas. For this, I am going to make a little bit of a sauce to spread on our tortillas. The sauce is some mayo, some cumin, paprika, chili powder, a little salt, and I threw in some hot sauce as well. This sauce gets spread onto our tortillas. The first tortilla we are going to put into an oiled hot pan with our sauce facing up. I'm going to add in my eggs, some cheese, some bacon, some more cheese, and then another tortilla with some sauce that will go face down. Now you can make this however you would eat it. You can omit things, you can change it up, you could add some black beans, you could add some tomatoes, whatever you want. I like to push down on these a little bit, make sure everything's nice and sealed, and cook it for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes per side until it's nice and browned and everything is melted together. For our final recipe out of our 7 summertime breakfasts, I am going to do an oldie but a goodie, and that is a Dutch baby. But I'm going to put a spin on it and use some lemon and some strawberries. So I have about a ½ cup's worth of granulated sugar that I rubbed with some lemon zest. And I'm going to take the juice of a half of a lemon and I'm going to combine that with about 2 cups worth of strawberries. I am adding about 4 tablespoons worth of butter to my cast iron pan here, as well as about half of that sugar mixture. Combining that and letting that cook up a little bit. And then we are going to layer our strawberries on top. Once all of the strawberries are in, we are going to add the rest of the sugar mixture on top of there, and it is going to go into the oven at 400 degrees just for a few minutes while we make up the Dutch baby batter. This batter is super easy. I love making it in my blender because then there are no lumps to be dealt with. It is 6 eggs, 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, and a good splash of vanilla. Super easy, doesn't take any time at all. Get that all blended up, and then we are going to add that mixture into our strawberries, which have formed a syrup. This is going to be so yummy. This is going to bake at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes until it's nice and puffy. All right, friend, thanks for hanging out with me. Don't forget to go and check out Heather's 7 ideas for a summer breakfast as well. I hope this inspired you to have some fun in the kitchen, try new things, make some memories, get your kiddos involved, and eat some good food. I'd love to know which one of these summer breakfast ideas jumps out to you that you'd want to make the most. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. And if you have any other summer breakfast ideas to share with everyone, be sure to leave that in the comments too. Don't forget to like and comment, share this video. It helps out my channel and my family so much. I really appreciate it. Have a blessed week. I will see you next time. Take care.